The comment came during what was supposed to be a celebration dinner at the Grandview, the upscale restaurant where our family gathered for important occasions. My daughter Emma, 12 years old and painfully shy, had been excited all week. She'd carefully chosen her navy dress, the one with small flowers embroidered on the collar. She'd even asked me to help curl her hair. My sister Jennifer sat across from us, her twin boys flanking her like bodyguards. Her husband Mark was scrolling through his phone, barely paying attention. Mom and Dad anchored the ends of the table, already looking uncomfortable as Jennifer launched into her usual routine. "I'm just saying," Jennifer continued, her voice carrying across the white tablecloth, "some people know how to work a room and others just don't." She gestured vaguely in Emma's direction. "It's like bringing a rain cloud to a beach party." Emma's fork clattered against her plate. I watched her shoulders curl inward, her carefully styled hair falling forward to hide her face. She'd been nervous about this dinner all week, worried about saying the wrong thing, wearing the wrong outfit, being too quiet or too loud. And Jennifer had just confirmed every fear. "Jennifer," I said quietly, my hand finding Emma's under the table. "That's enough." "What?" "I'm just being honest." Jennifer picked up her wine glass, examining it against the light. "The twins were saying just yesterday how awkward their cousin is at parties. They said she just sits in corners and makes everyone uncomfortable." I felt Emma's hand trembling in mine. The twins, ages 14, were currently absorbed in their phones, probably not even listening to their mother weaponize their names. "Funny," I said, keeping my voice level. "Because last month Tyler specifically asked if Emma could come to his basketball tournament. And Jason invited her to his birthday party, remember? The one where she helped organize games for the younger kids." Jennifer's smile tightened. "Being polite isn't the same as actually wanting someone there." "Not now," Mom whispered urgently, her eyes darting between us. "Let's just enjoy dinner." But something in me snapped, not with anger but with clarity. I'd spent years watching Jennifer diminish Emma, making snide comments about her quietness, her love of books, her preference for small gatherings over large parties. I'd bitten my tongue at countless family events, telling Emma that Aunt Jennifer was just joking, that she didn't mean it. But the trembling hand in mine told a different story. And I was done pretending. "Actually, Mom, let's talk about this," I said. I turned to Jennifer. "You say Emma makes parties uncomfortable. Tell me, which parties are we talking about?" Jennifer rolled her eyes. "All of them. She barely talks, she doesn't mingle, she just sits there judging everyone." "She's 12, I said. "And she's introverted. That's not a character flaw. It's called being antisocial," Jennifer shot back. "Maybe if you actually pushed her to be more outgoing instead of coddling her. Like you push your boys?" The words came out before I could stop them. "The ones who are currently on their phones instead of participating in this family dinner?" Mark looked up briefly, then back down at his screen. The twins didn't even react. Jennifer's face flushed. "My boys are confident. They don't need constant hand-holding." "Right," I said. "Is that why Tyler calls me twice a week asking for help with his homework? Or why Jason spent 2 hours crying at my house last month because he said you never listened to him?" The table went silent. Even Dad, who usually stayed out of family drama, looked up from his meal. "That's different," Jennifer said, but her voice had lost some of its edge. "Boys are more independent." "They're not independent, Jennifer. They're neglected." I hadn't meant to say it, but there it was, hanging in the air between us. "You're so busy criticizing Emma for being quiet that you don't notice your own kids are desperate for attention. How dare you?" "Last month," I continued, "when you hosted that big 4th of July party, who do you think helped set up? Who spent 3 hours in your kitchen preparing food while you posed for Instagram photos?" Jennifer's mouth opened, then closed. "Emma did," I said. "She made fruit platters, organized the dessert table, and helped your mother-in-law who couldn't reach the top shelves. She did it quietly without asking for credit because that's who she is. She helps people." I felt Emma's hand squeeze mine just slightly. "And that basketball tournament where you said Tyler was being polite inviting her? He asked her specifically because she's the only family member who actually watches his games and remembers the plays he tells her about. Not you. Not Mark. Emma." Mark had the decency to look uncomfortable, setting his phone down. "The birthday party?" I went on. "Jason told me he invited her because she's the only cousin who doesn't make fun of him for liking art. She spent an hour helping him paint miniature figures because she knew he was excited about his new hobby, and you'd called it a waste of time. I never, Jennifer started. You called it playing with dolls in front of his friends, I said. He told me. He tells me a lot of things, Jennifer. Because I listen. The waiter appeared, clearly sensing the tension, and quickly retreated without taking our order. Mom cleared her throat. Maybe we should. No, Mom, I said gently. We shouldn't just move past this. Emma deserves better than being insulted at family dinners. She deserves to know that being kind and quiet isn't a flaw. That helping others without seeking attention is actually a strength. I turned to Emma, who was looking at me with wide eyes. And you need to know something, sweetheart. The people who matter, the people worth your time, they see your value. Your cousins call you when they need help with homework, when they're upset, when they need someone who won't judge them. That's not making parties feel like funerals. That's being trustworthy. Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling slightly. Jennifer sat rigid in her chair, her wine glass frozen halfway to her lips. I was just joking, she said finally, her voice small. You know how I am. I do know how you are, I said. That's the problem. And I'm done pretending your jokes are harmless when they hurt my daughter. Dad finally spoke, his voice measured. Jennifer apologized to Emma. Dad. Now. Jennifer looked around the table, finding no support. Even her own sons had put down their phones, watching her with expressions I couldn't quite read. I'm sorry, Emma, she said stiffly. I didn't mean to upset you. It wasn't a real apology and we all knew it. But Emma nodded, accepting it with more grace than Jennifer deserved. The rest of dinner passed in uncomfortable silence. Orders were placed and eaten mechanically. Mom tried several times to start neutral conversations that died within seconds. Dad focused intensely on his steak. As we were leaving, Tyler approached Emma hesitantly. Hey, I have another tournament next Saturday. Would you want to come? Emma glanced at me, then back at Tyler. Sure, she said quietly. I'd like that. Jason appeared beside his brother. And I'm doing an art show at school next month. For the advanced art class? Would you come to that too? Both of those sound great, Emma said, and I could hear the genuine happiness in her voice. Jennifer watched this exchange from near the door, her face unreadable. As we walked to our cars, she caught my arm. I really was joking, she said. You know I love Emma. Do I? I asked. Because love isn't just a word, Jennifer. It's action. It's paying attention. It's building someone up instead of tearing them down for laughs. She's just so different from my boys. That's not a bad thing, I interrupted. Different doesn't mean less. And quiet doesn't mean empty. Emma has more emotional intelligence at 12 than most adults I know. Your boys see it. They gravitate toward her because she offers them something you don't. Genuine attention and acceptance. Jennifer's eyes glistened. I'm trying my best. Then try better, I said not unkindly. Because your best right now is hurting people, both my daughter and your own sons. I didn't wait for her response. Emma and I walked to our car in silence. Once inside, she turned to me. Mom, thank you for standing up for me. Always, I said, pulling her into a hug. I should have done it sooner. I'm sorry I didn't. It's okay, she said into my shoulder. I know family stuff is complicated. We drove home in comfortable quiet, the kind that only comes when you've said everything that needs saying. When we pulled into our driveway, Emma's phone buzzed. She checked it and smiled. Tyler says his mom is making him apologize too, but he wants me to know he meant what he said about the tournament. He really does want me there. Will you go? I asked. Yeah, Emma said. I like watching him play. He's actually really good and nobody ever tells him that. That night after Emma went to bed, I sat in the kitchen thinking about the dinner. About Jennifer's cruelty disguised as humor. About my own complicity in letting it continue for so long. About the relief I'd felt finally saying what needed to be said. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. I'm sorry. Really sorry. Can we talk? I stared at the message for a long moment. Then I typed back. Not yet. But maybe someday. When you're ready to actually listen. Her response came quickly. I understand. I didn't know if she really did. But I knew something had shifted. Emma had spent years absorbing Jennifer's comments, internalizing them, believing that her quietness was something to fix. But tonight she'd heard a different message, that she was exactly who she needed to be. The next morning, Emma came downstairs wearing jeans and her favorite t-shirt, the one with constellations printed on it. "I'm going to the library," she announced. "There's a book club meeting this afternoon." "Sounds good," I said. "Have fun." He paused at the door. "Mom, do you think Aunt Jennifer will ever understand why what she said was so wrong?" I considered the question carefully. "I don't know, sweetheart. Some people have a hard time seeing how their words affect others. But that's not your responsibility to fix." Emma nodded, processing this. "The twins texted me this morning. They said they're sorry their mom is mean sometimes." "That's big of them to say." "Yeah," Emma said. "I told them it's not their fault. They said they know what it's like when she criticizes them too. Tyler said she tells him he's too sensitive all the time, and Jason said she gets mad when he doesn't want to play sports." My heart ached for those boys, trapped in Jennifer's narrow vision of who they should be. "You're a good cousin," I said. Emma shrugged, but she was smiling. "I just try to be nice. It's not that hard." After she left, I sat with my coffee thinking about how simple it really was, being nice, paying attention, lifting people up instead of tearing them down. Emma understood it instinctively. Jennifer still hadn't learned it. My phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. "Hi, Mom," I answered. "I wanted to apologize," she said immediately. "I should have said something to Jennifer years ago. I've watched her belittle Emma at every family gathering, and I always told myself it was just sisterly teasing. But it wasn't. It was cruel." "Thank you for saying that," I said. "Emma is a wonderful girl," Mom continued. "She's kind and thoughtful and sees people in ways most of us don't." Jennifer's comments say more about Jennifer's insecurities than anything about Emma. We talked for another 20 minutes about family dynamics and the ways we sometimes enable bad behavior by staying silent. About how difficult it is to confront people we love even when they're wrong. When we hung up, I felt lighter somehow, as if speaking the truth had released something I'd been carrying for too long. That Saturday, I drove Emma to Tyler's basketball tournament. Jennifer was there, sitting alone in the bleachers while Mark worked on his laptop in the parking lot. When she saw us, she waved hesitantly. I waved back but sat on the opposite side of the gym. Emma cheered loudly for Tyler, remembering the plays he'd told her about, calling out encouragement. Tyler glanced up at her repeatedly, his face brightening each time he made a good play and heard her celebrating. After the game, Tyler ran up to Emma, sweaty and grinning. "Did you see that three-pointer in the fourth quarter? That was the play I told you about. It was perfect," Emma said enthusiastically. "Exactly how you described it." Jennifer approached slowly. "That was a good game, Tyler," she said. "Thanks, Mom," Tyler said, but his attention was still on Emma. "Are you coming to my next one too?" "If you want me there," Emma said. "Definitely." As we walked to the car, Jennifer called out, "Thank you for coming. It meant a lot to him." I nodded, acknowledging her words without committing to more. In the car, Emma said, "Do you think things will get better with Aunt Jennifer?" "I hope so," I said honestly. "But even if they don't, you know who you are. You know your worth. That's what matters." Emma smiled, looking out the window. "I'm glad you stood up for me at dinner." "Me too, sweetheart," I said. "Me too." We drove home through the autumn afternoon, the leaves beginning to turn golden, everything feeling like a new beginning. Emma hummed quietly to the radio, content in herself, no longer trying to be someone she wasn't. And I realized that was all I'd ever wanted for her. To know that being exactly who she was, quiet and kind and thoughtful, was more than enough. It was everything. The comment came during our monthly family dinner at Marino's. My son Daniel, 28, sat beside me in his usual jeans and t-shirt. He'd driven over in his old Honda Civic, the one with the dent in the passenger door. Melissa had arrived in her leased BMW, talking loudly about the new subdivision where she and her husband Greg were looking at houses. "The starter homes are only $400,000, she'd announced. "Of course we're looking at the executive models. Those start at $650. Daniel nodded politely. He'd always been quiet, preferring observation over confrontation. Melissa had always interpreted this as weakness. "We're hoping to close by spring," Melissa continued. "Greg's bonus should cover the down payment." She glanced at Daniel. "Not everyone can say that." My mother shifted uncomfortably. The breadsticks are excellent tonight. But Melissa wasn't done. Some people are meant to be homeowners and others are just renters. It's not a judgment, just reality. Daniel kept eating, his expression neutral. I'd learned over the years that he rarely rose to Melissa's bait. He'd simply let her talk, then go back to his life, the one she knew nothing about. Take Daniel, for example, Melissa said, gesturing with her fork. 28 years old, still renting that studio apartment downtown. No offense, Danny, but at some point you have to admit that homeownership might not be in the cards for everyone. Melissa, my father said quietly. That's enough. I'm just being realistic, Dad. The housing market is brutal. If you haven't built equity by your late 20s, you're basically priced out forever. Especially on a technician's salary. She said technician the way someone might say janitor. Daniel worked as a lead systems engineer at a tech company, but Melissa had never bothered to learn the distinction. Daniel does fine, I said, my voice tight. I'm sure he does, Melissa agreed, her tone dripping with false sympathy. Renting isn't a failure. Plenty of people rent their whole lives. It's just... She paused dramatically. Limiting. You can't build wealth, can't have equity, can't really plant roots. You're always one lease renewal away from having to move. Greg nodded along, though he looked vaguely uncomfortable. Their 12-year-old daughter, Emma, was absorbed in her phone, ignoring the whole conversation. Your son will never own a house, Melissa said, laughing as she reached for her wine glass. And that's okay. Not everyone is cut out for real estate investment. Some people are just meant to be tenants. The table went quiet. Mom stared at her plate. Dad set down his fork. Emma glanced up briefly, then went back to her phone. Daniel took a sip of water, completely calm. If you say so, Aunt Melissa. Something in his easy acceptance seemed to irritate her more than an argument would have. I do say so. I'm not trying to be mean, Danny. I'm trying to help you accept reality. The sooner you stop dreaming about homeownership and focus on being a good renter, the happier you'll be. That's when I'd had enough. I pulled out my phone, opening the folder where Daniel had asked me to store copies of his property documents. He'd given me access months ago, saying, just in case you ever need proof of anything. At the time I'd thought it was paranoid. Now I understood. Melissa, I said calmly. I want to show you something. I pulled up the first property deed, a 3-bedroom townhouse in the Pearl District, purchased 2 years ago for $380,000. Current estimated value, $490,000. I turned the phone toward her. Property number 1. Melissa squinted at the screen, then her eyes widened. What is this? Daniel's first investment property. He bought it when he was 26. I swiped to the next document. Property number 2. A duplex in the Beaumont neighborhood, purchased 18 months ago. He lives in one unit and rents out the other. That's not, Melissa started. I swiped again. And property number 3. A 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in the Eastmoreland district. Just closed last month. Paid cash. The color drained from Melissa's face. That last address look familiar? I asked. 1847 Maple Ridge Drive. The one you told me 3 months ago was your dream house. The one you lost the bid on because someone offered $20,000 over asking, all cash, no contingencies. Melissa's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Everyone had stopped eating. Dad leaned forward, staring at my phone. Mom had her hand over her mouth. Even Emma had put down her phone. But he's a technician, Melissa finally whispered. He's a lead systems engineer, I corrected. He makes $160,000 a year plus bonuses. He's been maxing out his 401k since he was 22, lives below his means, and invested in real estate instead of leasing luxury cars. Greg had gone very still, his face pale. But I never saw. He drives that old Honda he wears, Melissa stuttered. He drives a paid-off car and wears comfortable clothes, I said. Because he's smart enough to know that looking wealthy and being wealthy are two very different things. I swiped through a few more documents. Would you like to see his investment portfolio? Or maybe his savings account balance? Oh, here's a good one. His property management company's quarterly report. Turns out that duplex generates $1,800 a month in rental income after expenses. Melissa looked like she might be sick. But I wasn't finished, I said, echoing my earlier words. See, there's something else you should know about that dream house you lost. I pulled up another document. Daniel didn't buy it to live in. He bought it as an investment property. He's already got a tenant lined up, a nice family relocating from California. They're paying $3,800 a month. I looked directly at Melissa. That's more than your monthly mortgage payment would have been, isn't it? The one you couldn't qualify for because Greg's bonus was smaller than expected. Greg closed his eyes. How did you, Melissa started. You told Mom about the loan issues, I said. Last week when you were crying about losing the house. You said it was meant to be, and that material things don't matter. Mom told me because she was worried about you. She had no idea Daniel was the cash buyer who outbid you. Daniel finally spoke, his voice quiet. I didn't know it was your dream house, Aunt Melissa. I just knew it was a good investment in an appreciating neighborhood. The inspection came back clean, the bones were solid, and the rental market in that area is strong. Melissa stared at him like she'd never seen him before. When did this happen? Dad asked, his voice full of wonder. When did you buy 3 properties? Over the last 2 years, Daniel said. I started researching real estate investment when I was 25. I saved aggressively, learned about market analysis and studied neighborhood trends. The townhouse was my first purchase. I was nervous about that one, but it appreciated faster than I expected. Why didn't you tell us? Mom asked. Daniel shrugged. It felt like bragging. And honestly, I liked that nobody treated me differently. When Aunt Melissa makes comments about renters and technicians, it doesn't bother me because I know the truth. Her opinion doesn't change my reality. But you let her, Mom started. Let her what? Have opinions? She's allowed to have them, even if they're based on assumptions. Daniel took another bite of his pasta. I don't need external validation for my choices. I watched Melissa's face cycle through emotions. Shock, embarrassment, anger, and something that might have been grudging respect. I don't understand, she said finally. How can you afford this on a tech salary? Tech salaries are actually quite good, Daniel said patiently, especially in systems engineering. Plus, I live simply. I don't need a new car every 3 years or designer clothes. I buy what I need, invest the rest, and let compound interest work in my favor. But you live in a studio apartment, Melissa protested weakly. I live in half of a duplex, Daniel corrected. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, nice backyard. I call it a studio around family because it's easier than explaining my investment strategy every time we meet. Greg finally spoke. So the Honda, paid off in 2019, costs me almost nothing in maintenance. Why would I take on a car payment when I could invest that money in appreciating assets? The clothes. Melissa tried. Comfortable and functional. I work from home 3 days a week. Nobody cares if I wear jeans and t-shirts. Daniel smiled slightly. Except you, apparently. The waiter appeared, clearly sensing the tension, and quickly retreated without asking about dessert. I'm sorry, Melissa said suddenly. I've been such a snob. It was the first genuine thing she'd said all evening. You've been making assumptions, Daniel said. People do that. You see someone driving an old car and wearing casual clothes and you assume they're struggling. But struggling and choosing simplicity are very different things. I feel like an idiot, Melissa said quietly. Don't, Daniel said. Just maybe ask questions next time before making pronouncements about someone's future. Emma, who'd been silent this whole time, looked up from her phone. That's actually really cool, Daniel. You're like a secret millionaire or something. Not a millionaire, Daniel said, laughing. Not yet anyway. But I'm building wealth steadily. In 10 years, maybe 15, I'll have significant passive income from rental properties. That's the goal. Financial independence before I'm 45. That's impressive, Dad said. Really impressive, son. Thanks, Grandpa. Melissa stared at her barely touched meal. The dream house, she said softly. I can't believe you own my dream house. It's a good house, Daniel acknowledged. Solid foundation, new roof, updated electrical. The tenants seem excited about it. They've got 2 kids and a dog. It'll be a good family home. Something in Melissa's expression crumbled. We were going to have 2 more kids. Fill up those extra bedrooms. Emma wanted her own bathroom. You'll find another house, I said more gently now. The market's tough, but you'll find something. Not like that one, Melissa whispered. That one was perfect. An awkward silence fell over the table. Daniel looked uncomfortable for the first time all evening. Look, he said finally, I bought it as an investment, but that doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. If you and Greg seriously want it and you can get financing together, we could work something out. I haven't signed a long-term lease with the tenants yet, just a 6-month trial. Melissa looked up sharply. What? I mean it, Daniel said. If you can get approved for a mortgage, I'd sell it to you at my purchase price. No profit, just covering my costs and the down payment. You'd do that? Melissa's voice was small. Family's family, Daniel said simply. Even when they call you a perpetual renter at dinner. Melissa laughed and it turned into something close to a sob. I'm so sorry, Danny. I've been awful to you. Yeah, Daniel agreed. You kind of have been. For years, actually. I know. Melissa wiped her eyes. I don't know why. Maybe because you never seemed to care what anyone thought, and that bothered me. I've always cared so much about appearances. I noticed, Daniel said dryly. The BMW is leased, Melissa admitted. We can barely afford the payments. Greg's bonus was half of what we expected, and we've been scrambling ever since. We're one unexpected expense away from serious trouble. Greg nodded miserably. Then stop, Daniel said. Sell the BMW. Buy something practical. Cut the expenses that don't bring you actual joy. Build savings. It's not complicated, just hard. Says the guy with 3 properties, Melissa said, but there was no malice in it now. Says the guy who ate ramen for 2 years while saving for his first down payment, Daniel corrected. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't Instagram-worthy. But it worked. Mom reached over and squeezed Daniel's hand. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. You say it all the time, Grandma, Daniel said, smiling. Not about this, Mom said. About the person you've become, quiet and thoughtful and so much smarter than the rest of us about what actually matters. We finished dinner in a strange new atmosphere, not quite comfortable but honest in a way our family gatherings had never been before. Melissa asked Daniel questions about his investment strategy, and he answered patiently, occasionally pulling up spreadsheets on his phone to illustrate points about cash flow and appreciation rates. As we left the restaurant, Melissa pulled Daniel aside. I heard her say, "Thank you for offering to sell us the house. We're going to talk to a financial advisor and see if we can make it work. If we can't, I understand. And I'll stop judging people based on their cars and clothes." That would be nice, Daniel said. In the parking lot, Emma ran up to Daniel. Can you teach me about investing? I've got $300 saved from birthdays. Sure, Daniel said. We can talk about index funds and compound interest. Starting at 12 is actually perfect. You've got time on your side. Emma beamed. As Daniel drove away in his dented Honda, I stood with my parents watching the taillights disappear. I underestimated him, Dad said quietly. We all did. He didn't want to be estimated at all, I said. That's the whole point. He just wanted to build his life without commentary. Smart kid, Dad said. Smart man, I corrected. We drove home separately, but I felt a shift in our family dynamic. Melissa had been humbled, yes, but more importantly, she'd been educated. And Daniel, who'd never sought recognition or respect, had earned both simply by being himself, quiet, thoughtful, and financially astute. Later that night, Daniel called me. Thanks for showing the documents. I know it wasn't subtle. You're welcome, I said. And subtle wasn't working. Melissa needed facts, not hints. Think she'll really change? He asked. Maybe, I said. People can surprise you. They can, Daniel agreed. But I'm not counting on it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, building wealth, staying humble, and letting my results speak for themselves. That's my boy, I said. 3 months later, Melissa and Greg bought the house from Daniel. They worked with a financial advisor, cut their expenses dramatically, and qualified for a mortgage. Daniel sold it to them at cost, just as he'd promised. At the closing, Melissa hugged him. Thank you, she said. For the house and for the wake-up call. We've changed a lot since that dinner. Good, Daniel said simply. I'm glad it's going to a family who'll love it. As for Daniel, he'd already purchased property number 4, a small apartment building with 6 units. Better cash flow, he explained when I asked. And I'm getting better at screening tenants. My quiet, unassuming son, building an empire one modest property at a time while the world underestimated him. I couldn't have been prouder. The words came through the phone like ice water. My sister Jennifer's voice carried that particular tone she'd perfected over the years, the one that made it clear she wasn't asking or discussing, just announcing decisions she'd already made. The family reunion is adults only this year, she said. Your kids aren't invited. We're trying to keep it sophisticated. I was folding laundry in my living room, the phone wedged between my shoulder and ear. My hands stilled on my daughter's school uniform. Sophisticated, I repeated quietly. Yes. Mom and Dad agree. We're renting this beautiful resort in Monterey, and honestly, Sarah, your children are just too young. They'll ruin the atmosphere we're going for. My son Marcus was 26. My daughter Lisa was 23. Both were college graduates. Both were successful in their own right. They're adults, Jennifer. Barely. Her laugh was sharp. Marcus with his little hotel management thing and Lisa still figuring out her career. We want people who've actually accomplished something. Uncle Tom is bringing his son, the surgeon. Cousin Beth is bringing her daughter, the lawyer. You understand. I sat down on the couch, still holding Lisa's shirt. I understand. Great. I knew you'd be reasonable. The reunion is in 6 weeks. We're doing a whole weekend, Friday through Sunday. The Palmer Ridge Resort. It's exclusive. Very upscale. Probably not the kind of place you're used to, but we thought we'd splurge this year. Palmer Ridge. My heart did a small flip, but I kept my voice steady. Sounds lovely. It is. I've been coordinating everything with the events manager. They're giving us the entire West Wing, private beach access, the works. This is going to be the reunion people talk about for years. She paused. I'm sending the details to everyone who's invited. Obviously you're welcome, but just you. Tom's wife is getting a sitter for their younger kids too. It's just how it has to be. Of course, I said softly. Whatever you think is best. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet living room for a long moment. Then I called Marcus. Hey Mom, he answered. His voice had that busy quality, like he was walking somewhere quickly. Can I call you back? I'm dealing with a situation at the property. No rush, honey. Just wanted to hear your voice. Everything okay? Everything's fine. Love you. Love you too, Mom. I didn't tell him about the reunion. Not yet. The next 3 weeks were punctuated by group text messages from Jennifer. She'd created a family chat specifically for reunion planning, and I watched as she orchestrated every detail with military precision. Jennifer confirmed the wine tasting for Saturday afternoon. Premium selections only. Uncle Tom, sounds perfect. James is looking forward to networking with everyone. Jennifer, exactly the crowd he should be around. Successful people. Aunt Patricia, should we do a formal dinner Friday night? Jennifer, already booked the main dining room. I told the resort manager we're a distinguished group. She's pulling out all the stops. I noticed she'd included me in the chat but never directed any questions my way. I was copied, not consulted, a courtesy inclusion. Mom chimed in occasionally with approving messages. Dad sent thumbs-up emojis. My brother David contributed ideas about golf tee times and cigar selections. It was like watching a play where everyone had a speaking role except me. On Thursday evening, Jennifer sent a photo of her outfit selections. 5 different designer dresses laid out on her bed. Jennifer, can't decide which for Friday night. The Versace or the Prada. The responses flooded in immediately. Everyone had opinions. I stared at my phone screen, then set it face down on the counter. That night Lisa called. Marcus told me about the reunion thing, she said. Her voice was tight. Aunt Jennifer said we're not sophisticated enough? She's planning something specific, I said carefully. It's her event. It's a family reunion, Mom. We're family. I know, sweetheart. Does she know Marcus owns Palmer Ridge? No. There was a pause. Are you going to tell her? No. Mom. What she doesn't know won't hurt her, I said. Let her have her perfect weekend. Lisa made a frustrated sound. You're too nice. You know that. Maybe. 3 days before the reunion, my phone rang at 7 in the morning. Jennifer's name flashed on the screen. Sarah. Her voice was different, higher, strained. I need to talk to you about something. What's wrong? I was at Palmer Ridge yesterday doing the final walkthrough with the events coordinator. Everything was perfect, absolutely perfect. Then the manager asked to speak with me privately. I waited. She said the owner wanted to personally approve our event. Standard procedure for large family gatherings, she said. So she called him down to meet me. My coffee had gone cold in my hand. It was Marcus. Jennifer's voice cracked slightly. Your son Marcus. He owns the entire resort, Sarah. The whole thing. Why didn't you tell me? You didn't ask. I've been coordinating this whole event, talking about how exclusive it is, how upscale, and your son owns it? The events manager said he bought it 2 years ago, that he owns 4 other properties along the coast. She called him one of the most successful young hospitality entrepreneurs in California. I took a sip of cold coffee. That's nice of her to say. Nice of her to, Sarah, this is huge. This is massive. Why didn't you say anything? You said Marcus had a little hotel management thing. I figured you weren't interested in the details. The line went quiet for a moment. Look, Jennifer said, her tone shifting, becoming warmer. I think there's been a misunderstanding. About the kids not being invited. I was just trying to keep numbers manageable, you know? But obviously Marcus and Lisa should be there. I mean, Marcus owns the venue. It would be weird if he wasn't there. You said they hadn't accomplished anything. I didn't mean it like that. I was stressed about planning. You know how I get. Come on, Sarah. Tell them they're invited. Please. This whole thing could be really awkward otherwise. I'll think about it. Think about it? Sarah, the reunion is in 3 days. I know when it is. I hung up before she could say anything else. An hour later, a delivery truck pulled up to my house. The driver unloaded 6 large boxes, all wrapped in expensive paper with elaborate bows. I signed for them and carried them inside one by one. When I opened them, I found designer clothes, expensive chocolates, premium wine, and gift certificates to upscale restaurants. A card was attached to the largest box in Jennifer's handwriting, for Marcus and Lisa. Can't wait to celebrate with them this weekend. I took a photo of everything, then loaded it all back into my car. The next delivery came that afternoon. More gifts. A personalized photo album labeled Family Memories. A framed picture of all of us from 10 years ago, professionally matted. Another card. Family means everything. Let's make this reunion special together. I drove both loads to the donation center before dinner. Friday morning, my phone started ringing at 6. Jennifer. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. By the 4th call I answered. Sarah, thank God. Listen, I need to talk to Marcus. The resort is saying our event might have some issues with availability. Can you have him call me? Please. Marcus is busy with his properties. He has 5 resorts to manage. 5? I thought the manager said 4. He just acquired another one in Santa Barbara last month. It didn't make the news yet. Oh. Pause. Well, can you just ask him to call? Just for a minute? I'm getting worried about the arrangements. I'll pass along the message. When I see him. Sarah, please. I'm sorry about what I said. I really am. You know I didn't mean it. Your kids are great. They're accomplished. Marcus is obviously incredibly successful. I was just stressed and said stupid things. Can we please move past this? The gifts you sent, I said calmly. I donated them. You what? To charity. They'll go to people who need them. But those were for Marcus and Lisa. Those were apology gifts. They don't need gifts. They need family who respects them. I do respect them. That's what I'm trying to say. 3 days ago they weren't sophisticated enough for your reunion. Today they're accomplished and successful. That's not respect, Jennifer. That's convenience. Her voice rose. What do you want from me? I apologized. I sent gifts. I'm trying to fix this. I want you to remember this feeling, I said quietly. The next time you decide someone isn't good enough. I ended the call. The messages started immediately, Jennifer. Dad, Uncle Tom, Aunt Patricia. Even my brother David, who never got involved in family drama. David, come on sis. Jennifer messed up. Can't we just move forward? Mom, Sarah, this is family. We forgive each other. Dad, your son is very successful. We're all proud. Let's celebrate together. Uncle Tom, Jennifer is beside herself. She's learned her lesson. I turned off my phone. Saturday morning, someone knocked on my door. Jennifer stood on my porch, her eyes red, still in her pajamas even though it was nearly noon. "The resort canceled our event," she said. Her voice was hollow. "They said the owner declined to host it. They refunded our deposit, but we have nowhere to go. Everyone is arriving this afternoon. I have 23 family members coming to Monterey with no venue, no accommodations, nothing." I leaned against the doorframe. "That's unfortunate. Please, Sarah. Talk to Marcus. I know this is coming from him. Just ask him to reconsider. I'll apologize to him directly. To Lisa too. I'll do whatever it takes. Marcus makes his own business decisions," I said. "He's an accomplished young man. Very sophisticated. I'm sure he has his reasons." She flinched at her own words being reflected back. "I'm begging you. Like I begged you to include my children. When I called you back that first day and you let it go to voicemail. When I texted asking if we could discuss it and you said the decision was final." Jennifer's face crumpled. "I didn't know. You didn't know Marcus was successful, so my feelings didn't matter. My children's feelings didn't matter. Now that you know, everything changes." I shook my head slowly. "That's the problem, Jennifer. Respect shouldn't come with conditions. What do I do? Everyone is going to blame me. This reunion has been planned for months. I guess you'll have to figure it out. You're good at planning sophisticated events for accomplished people. I'm sure you'll find somewhere appropriate." I stepped back and closed the door softly. Through the window, I watched her walk back to her car, shoulders shaking. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "The Palmer Ridge manager said Aunt Jennifer is looking for alternative venues. Should I help?" I typed back, "That's your decision, honey. You're the owner. Very accomplished. Very sophisticated. Whatever you choose, I'm proud of you." 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then his response, "I think I'll wait until she asks me directly without going through you." "Good call," I sent back. Lisa called a few minutes later. "Mom, Aunt Patricia just texted me asking if I could talk to Marcus." "What's happening?" "Your aunt is learning that words have consequences." "Should I respond? Do you want to?" She was quiet for a moment. "Not really. She's never been interested in talking to me before, only now that she needs something." "Then don't." "Love you, Mom." "Love you too, sweetheart." I made myself tea and sat on the back porch. My phone continued buzzing with messages, but I didn't look at them. The afternoon sun was warm, and for the first time in weeks, I felt completely at peace. Sometimes the best response to cruelty isn't anger. It's simply removing your cooperation. Jennifer wanted sophistication and exclusivity. Now she had it. A reunion so exclusive she couldn't even attend. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone rang one more time. Mom's name appeared. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Sarah, please. This has gone too far. Jennifer made a mistake. Can't we fix this as a family?" "Mom," I said gently, "when Jennifer said my kids weren't invited, you agreed with her. You texted in that group chat about how nice it would be to have an adults-only event. You never once asked how I felt or if maybe Marcus and Lisa deserved to be included. I didn't want to cause conflict." "No. You didn't want to disagree with Jennifer. There's a difference." She was silent. "My children are good people," I continued. "They're kind, they're hardworking, they're successful. They didn't deserve to be excluded. And I didn't deserve to watch my entire family plan a celebration while making it clear my kids weren't good enough. We didn't know about Marcus's success. You shouldn't have needed to know. They should have been invited because they're family. Because that's what family reunions are for. Not because my son happened to be wealthy enough to make you reconsider." Mom's voice was small. "You're right. I know. Will you talk to Marcus?" "No. If Jennifer wants to make this right, she needs to do it herself. Not through me. Not through gifts. She needs to actually face what she did and apologize to the people she hurt." After we hung up, I finally looked at my messages. Buried among the pleas and justifications was one text that made me pause. "Jennifer, I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because Marcus owns the resort. Because I was cruel to you and your children. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking for it anyway. No gifts. No strings. Just truth." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I forwarded it to Marcus with a simple note. Your call, honey. Whatever you decide, I support you. His response came 5 minutes later. I'll think about it. But if I do help, it's not Palmer Ridge. She can learn that some doors once closed stay closed. I smiled and typed back. Very sophisticated decision. Emily didn't look up from her laptop. Her fingers continued moving across the keyboard, the soft clicking the only sound in my living room for a moment. She'd been working since she arrived an hour ago, barely touching the coffee I'd made her. Amanda waited for a reaction. When she didn't get one, she turned to me with that expression I'd seen 1,000 times. The one that said she was about to explain something I was too simple to understand on my own. I'm not trying to be mean, Victoria. I'm being realistic. This Mediterranean cruise costs $18,000 per person. We're talking about 2 weeks on a luxury liner with excursions in Greece, Italy, and Spain. This is for people who've actually accomplished something. My younger sister Jessica nodded from the armchair. Amanda's right. This isn't a trip for everyone. It's a celebration of success. And who exactly are we celebrating? I asked quietly. Well, my promotion to senior partner, obviously, Amanda said. And Jessica's husband just made VP at his firm. Uncle Robert's son graduated from Harvard Law. Cousin Michelle's opening her 3rd dental practice. These are people who've earned the right to celebrate. Emily's typing slowed but didn't stop. I watched her shoulders, waiting for tension that never came. My daughter had always been good at staying calm. Emily's been working hard too, I offered. Amanda laughed, actually laughed. Working on what? She's been doing that computer thing for years. What is it? App development. Tech support. She waved her hand dismissively. That's not the same as real career advancement. No offense, Em. Emily finally looked up. Her expression was neutral, maybe even slightly amused. None taken, Aunt Amanda. See? She gets it. Amanda pulled out her phone, scrolling through something. I've already sent the deposit for 14 people. That's immediate family only. Successful immediate family. We're leaving in 8 weeks, and honestly, Victoria, I think it's better if you both sit this one out. It would just be awkward. Awkward how? Kept my voice level. Well, everyone will be talking about their achievements, their careers, their investments. What would Emily talk about? Her laptop. Amanda's smile was sharp. I'm trying to protect you both from an uncomfortable situation. Jessica leaned forward. We could do a separate trip for you two later. Something smaller. More appropriate to your budget level. How thoughtful, I said. Emily had gone back to typing, her face illuminated by the screen's glow. I noticed she was smiling slightly. Amanda stood up, smoothing her designer skirt. I'm glad you're being reasonable about this. Some people would take it personally, but you've always been practical, Victoria. You understand how the world works. Success attracts success. We're building a family brand here. A family brand, I repeated. Exactly. And I'm sorry, but Emily's little tech hobby doesn't fit the image we're cultivating. Maybe in a few years, if she actually makes something of herself, we can reconsider. Amanda checked her watch. I have a dinner meeting with clients. Jessica, want to grab lunch before my meeting? Sure. Jessica gathered her purse. Victoria, no hard feelings, right? This is just business. Just business, I agreed. They headed toward the door, still talking about the cruise. Amanda was describing the ship's amenities, the private balconies, the Michelin star restaurants. Her voice carried back to us, full of excitement and superiority. Emily closed her laptop and looked at me. You okay, Mom? Are you? He shrugged. I've heard worse from Aunt Amanda. Remember when she said I was wasting my potential by not going to law school? Or medical school? Or business school? Basically any school that wasn't Stanford computer science. Which, ironically, was her least favorite option at the time. Emily stretched. Should I tell her? Tell her what? About the acquisition. I paused. The what? Emily's smile widened. I was going to wait until the press release tomorrow, but since we're having this conversation, Mom, the company I founded got acquired. The deal closed yesterday. My heart started beating faster. Acquired. By Microsoft. For $4.2 billion. I sat down heavily on the couch. Billion. With a B. Emily opened her laptop again, turning it toward me. Her email was open and I could see messages from lawyers, bankers, journalists. I was actually in a video conference with the integration team when Aunt Amanda started her speech. I had my camera off. $4 billion. 4.2. I keep forgetting the point two, but apparently that's $42 million I shouldn't round away. She laughed. My financial advisor was very clear about that. I stared at my daughter. She was wearing jeans and an old Stanford hoodie, her hair in a messy ponytail, looking exactly like she had as an undergraduate, except now she was apparently a billionaire. When were you going to tell me? Tonight, actually. I wanted to do it over dinner somewhere nice. Make it special. She gestured toward where Amanda and Jessica had been sitting. But then Aunt Amanda decided to share her thoughts on my computer thing. Your computer thing just sold for $4 billion. 4.2. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I started laughing. I couldn't help it. The absurdity of it all. Amanda's speech about success and family brands, her dismissal of Emily's career, all while my daughter was casually worth more than everyone in our extended family combined. What are you going to do? I asked. Emily shrugged. Probably keep working. Microsoft wants me to stay on as Chief Technology Officer for the division. They're giving me a pretty incredible team to work with. This was never about the money for me, Mom. You know that. I do. I'd watched her build her company from our garage, working 18-hour days, turning down high-paying job offers to pursue her vision. But Amanda doesn't. No, Emily agreed. She doesn't. My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda. Thanks for understanding. Some people just aren't cut out for luxury experiences. It's not personal. I showed it to Emily. Wow, she said. She really committed to that message. She always does. Emily was quiet for a moment, then looked at me with an expression I recognized from her childhood, the one that appeared right before she did something clever. Call her back. What? Call Aunt Amanda. Tell her we need to talk about the cruise. Emily. Trust me, Mom. I called. Amanda answered on the second ring, her voice impatient. Victoria, I'm almost at the restaurant. What is it? We need to discuss the Mediterranean cruise. There's nothing to discuss. I explained the situation. It's not appropriate for you and Emily to attend. I understand. But I wanted to let you know something. I looked at Emily, who nodded encouragingly. Emily's company was just acquired by Microsoft. The announcement goes public tomorrow. $4.2 billion. The line went silent. I could hear restaurant noise in the background, the clink of glasses, the murmur of conversation, but Amanda said nothing. Amanda. That can't be right. It's right. The deal closed yesterday. $4 billion. Emily's little app thing. Software platform for enterprise cloud integration. Not an app. And yes, $4.2 billion. More silence. Then in a different voice, smaller, is Emily there? I'm here, Aunt Amanda, Emily said, leaning toward my phone. I didn't know. You never said anything about selling a company. You just said you were working on a project. It was a 7-year project, Emily replied calmly. We launched 5 years ago with 3 employees. Now we have 800. Microsoft approached us 6 months ago. The negotiations took a while. 800 employees. Amanda's voice sounded distant. And you own this company? Owned. Past tense. I founded it with 2 partners from Stanford. I held 42%. They'll do very well too. I did the quick math in my head. 42% of $4.2 billion. My daughter's share was over $1.7 billion. I need to call you back, Amanda said abruptly. Sure, I replied. We'll be here. She hung up. Emily and I looked at each other. That went well, she said. Define well. She didn't scream. Emily grinned. Low bar, I know. 20 minutes later my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Amanda standing there, slightly out of breath, her perfect hair disheveled. Jessica was behind her looking confused. Is it true? Amanda demanded. Show me proof. Emily picked up her laptop, opened a browser and pulled up TechCrunch's homepage. There in the breaking news section was the headline. Microsoft acquires CloudBridge platform for $4.2 billion in largest enterprise software deal this year. Below the headline was a photo of Emily shaking hands with Microsoft's CEO at the signing ceremony. Amanda stared at the screen. Jessica moved closer, reading over her shoulder. Cloudbridge, Jessica whispered. That's your company? Was my company, Emily corrected. Now it's Microsoft's Cloudbridge division. I'm staying on as CTO. Amanda's face had gone pale. This article says you're one of the youngest female founders to achieve $1 billion exit. It says you pioneered new protocols for secure data transfer. It says Fortune called you a visionary in enterprise technology. Fortune was generous, Emily said. I just solved a problem that needed solving. $1 billion problem. $4.2 billion problem apparently. Amanda sat down without being invited, her legs seeming to give out. Jessica remained standing, her mouth slightly open. Why didn't you tell anyone? Amanda finally asked. I did tell people. I told Mom everything. Always. I told my investors, my team, my partners. I talked about my work at family dinners for years. Emily's voice remained calm, but I heard the edge underneath. You just didn't listen. You heard computer thing and tech startup, and decided it wasn't important. Not real success. Not like your senior partner track or Jessica's husband's VP position. Those are still impressive achievements, Jessica said defensively. They are, Emily agreed. They're great achievements. You should be proud. But they don't make you better than me. They don't make you successful while I'm unsuccessful. They just make you different. Amanda's phone started buzzing. She looked at it, her expression shifting from shock to something harder to read. It's Uncle Robert, she said. And Cousin Michelle. And everyone's calling. The press release went out early, Emily explained. Microsoft moved it up because a blogger was about to break the story. So yeah, everyone probably knows now. Amanda's phone continued buzzing. She ignored it and looked up at Emily. The cruise, she said quietly. $18,000 is nothing to you now. You could buy the entire ship. I probably could, Emily acknowledged. But I'm not going to. What? I'm not going on your cruise, Aunt Amanda. You made it very clear that trips like that are for successful people only. And you made it even clearer that I don't qualify. Emily closed her laptop. Your standards, not mine. But that was before I knew. Before you knew I was worth money. Right. So if I were still running a small startup, still working 18-hour days, still building something I believed in, but without the $1 billion exit, I still wouldn't be successful enough. I still wouldn't belong on your family trip. Amanda stood up, her composure cracking. Emily, please. I made a mistake. I didn't understand what you were doing. But we're family. This cruise is supposed to celebrate family success, and you're the biggest success story we have. You should be there. You deserve to be there. Now I deserve it. Yes. Well, Amanda trailed off, seeming to realize what she was saying. I appreciate the invitation, Emily said, her voice gentle but firm. But I'll pass. I'm actually planning my own trip. My team and I are doing a retreat in Japan to celebrate the acquisition and plan the next phase of development. 2 weeks in Tokyo and Kyoto working with some of the best engineers in the world. That's my version of celebrating success. Jessica finally spoke up. We could change the cruise. Make it about you. Celebrate your achievement. Why would I want to celebrate with people who didn't think I was worth celebrating an hour ago? Emily asked. The question wasn't cruel, just honest. You didn't want me on your Mediterranean cruise because you thought I hadn't accomplished anything. Now you want me there because I have? That's not family, Aunt Jessica. That's networking. Amanda's phone was still buzzing insistently. Everyone's going to want to meet you now. Connect with you. The whole family. I'm sure they will, Emily agreed. And I'll be polite. I'll answer their calls and emails. But I'm not going to pretend the last few years didn't happen. I'm not going to forget that my computer thing wasn't good enough until it made me rich. What can we do? Amanda asked. Her voice had changed completely, all the superiority gone. How can we fix this? Emily considered the question. You can go on your cruise. Have a wonderful time. Celebrate your achievements because they are real achievements. And maybe, while you're sailing around the Mediterranean, you can think about the difference between someone's worth and someone's net worth. Emily. I need to get back to work, Emily said, not unkindly. The integration team needs some architecture decisions by tonight. Mom, dinner at 7? Sounds perfect, I said. Emily gathered her laptop and bag, kissed my cheek and headed for the door. Amanda and Jessica watched her leave, neither seeming to know what to say. After she was gone, Amanda turned to me. Victoria, please. Talk to her. She'll listen to you. She did listen to me, I replied. I taught her to value her work, to believe in herself and not to measure her worth by other people's standards. She learned that lesson very well. But the family will be fine. You have your cruise. Enjoy it. My phone buzzed with a text from Emily. That went better than expected. Dinner at Giordano's? My treat. I can finally afford their wine list. I smiled and texted back, your treat. But I'm still proud of you for all the reasons that have nothing to do with money. Her response came immediately, I know, Mom. That's why I told you first. Amanda and Jessica let themselves out. Through the window, I watched them get into Amanda's car, both of them on their phones, probably doing damage control with the rest of the family. My phone rang. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mrs. Martinez? This is Sarah Chin from Fortune magazine. We're doing a profile on your daughter, Emily, and her groundbreaking work in cloud technology. Would you be willing to answer a few questions about Emily's background and what drove her success? I looked at the spot where Amanda had been sitting an hour ago, dismissing my daughter's computer thing. I'd be happy to, I said. I have quite a lot to say about what drives Emily's success, and none of it has anything to do with money. The auditorium was packed with families celebrating their graduates. I sat in the third row with my daughter Emma beside me, her honors diploma resting on her lap. She'd walked across that stage 30 minutes earlier, shaking hands with the principal and smiling for the photographer. My sister Jennifer sat 2 seats away, scrolling through her phone. Her son Tyler had graduated in the same ceremony, though he'd walked without any honors cords or special recognition. Emma's diploma looks nice, my mother said, leaning over to get a better view. Jennifer didn't look up from her phone. They hand those out to everyone now. Participation trophies. She only graduated because of luck. Emma's fingers tightened around the edge of the diploma. I watched her face carefully, but she kept her expression neutral. Emma graduated with honors, I said quietly. That's not luck. Jennifer finally looked up, her eyes moving from Emma to me. Please. Teachers these days basically give away good grades. Tyler could have gotten honors too if he'd wanted to, but he was focused on real-world skills instead of kissing up to teachers. My mother shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer, maybe we should. Should what? Pretend this is some huge achievement. Jennifer turned directly to Emma. Sweetie, I'm not trying to be mean, but graduating high school is literally the bare minimum. Everyone does it. Don't let your mom make you think you're special. Emma's voice was steady when she spoke. I understand. Good, Jennifer said, returning to her phone. Someone needs to keep expectations realistic around here. The ceremony continued on stage. The principal introduced the scholarship committee chair, an older woman in a navy suit who carried a folder to the podium. Now for the annual scholarship awards, the principal announced. These are merit-based scholarships ranging from $5,000 to $50,000, awarded to students who demonstrated exceptional academic achievement and research capabilities. Jennifer snorted quietly. Watch, they'll probably give everyone a scholarship too. Can't hurt anyone's feelings. The scholarship chair opened her folder. Our first award is the Regional Science Research Scholarship for $10,000. This goes to a student who completed an independent research project presented at the State Science Symposium. Emma sat up slightly straighter. The recipient is Emma Peterson, the chair announced. I heard my mother gasp softly. Jennifer stopped scrolling. Emma stood, smoothing down her graduation gown, and walked toward the stage. The auditorium applauded. She climbed the steps, shook hands with the scholarship chair, and accepted the certificate and oversized check. When she returned to her seat, Jennifer stared at her. $10,000? For what? A research project on antibiotic resistance patterns, Emma said simply. I worked with a university lab last summer. Jennifer's jaw tightened. I didn't know about that. I mentioned it at Thanksgiving, Emma replied. You said it sounded boring. The scholarship chair was already announcing the next award. The Mathematics Achievement Scholarship for $15,000 goes to a student who scored in the top 1% nationally on the Advanced Mathematics Assessment. Emma's name was called again. This time Jennifer didn't make a sound. She watched Emma walk to the stage, accept another certificate and check, and return to her seat. "How many of these are there?" Jennifer asked, her voice tight. I pulled out the program I'd been holding. The scholarship section lists 12 major awards. They're all merit-based, judged by external committees. Emma was called to the stage 3 more times over the next 20 minutes. A chemistry scholarship for $12,000, a writing award for $8,000, and a community service scholarship for $10,000. Jennifer's expression shifted from skeptical to pale. Tyler, seated beside her, slumped in his chair and stared at his feet. My mother leaned over again. "Jennifer, did you know Emma was up for all these scholarships?" "No," Jennifer said. "Nobody told me. I posted about the applications in the family group chat," I said. "Back in January. You replied with a thumbs-down emoji and said scholarships were scams." The scholarship chair returned to the podium for the final announcements. "We have 2 remaining awards tonight, both of significant value. The first is the Academic Excellence Full Scholarship, which covers 4 years of tuition, room and board at any state university. This is our highest award, valued at approximately $120,000. The auditorium went completely silent. This year's recipient demonstrated perfect grades across all 4 years, leadership in 3 academic clubs, and publication of research in a peer-reviewed journal," the chair said with a smile. "Emma Peterson." The applause was louder this time. I heard people whistling. Emma walked to the stage for the 6th time, and I noticed her hands were shaking slightly as she accepted the award. Jennifer's phone slipped from her fingers and clattered on the floor. She didn't bend down to pick it up. When Emma sat back down, she had 6 certificates and 6 oversized checks stacked on her lap. The total value of her scholarships exceeded $175,000. "There's one more award," the principal said, returning to the microphone. "But this one is slightly different. Every year we nominate one exceptional student for the National Academic Achievement Award. If selected by the National Committee, the student receives recognition at a ceremony in Washington and a scholarship that covers both undergraduate and graduate education at any institution in the country." Jennifer finally bent down to retrieve her phone. Her hands were shaking. "We received notification last week that our nominee was selected," the principal continued. "Out of over 15,000 nominees nationwide, only 50 students are chosen. This is the first time in our school's history that one of our students has received this honor." I already knew what was coming. Emma had gotten the email 3 days ago. She'd shown it to me in the kitchen, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Emma Peterson, please come to the stage." The applause was different this time. People stood. Teachers who had lined the walls were clapping. I saw several of them wiping their eyes. Emma walked to the stage one last time. The principal shook her hand and then pulled her into a hug. The scholarship chair handed her a special plaque and another certificate. "The national award covers full tuition, fees, room, board, books, and a stipend for living expenses for up to 8 years of continuous education," the principal announced. "The total value exceeds $400,000. Jennifer made a choking sound. When Emma returned to her seat, she was crying. She set the plaque down carefully on top of her other awards and wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "I didn't know," Jennifer whispered. "I honestly didn't know. I told the family group chat," I said again. "I mentioned her research projects at every family dinner. I talked about her test scores, her college applications, her volunteer work. You weren't paying attention." The ceremony concluded 15 minutes later. Families began filtering out toward the lobby where refreshments were set up. Emma gathered her awards carefully, stacking them in chronological order. Tyler approached us hesitantly. "Emma, that was really cool. Congratulations." Emma smiled at him. "Thanks, Tyler. How are you feeling about community college?" "Good," he said. "I'm actually excited about the technical program I got into." "That's great," Emma said, and she sounded genuine. "You're really good with your hands. You'll do well." Jennifer stood frozen in place, staring at the stage. My mother touched her arm gently. "Jennifer, we should go congratulate Emma properly." Jennifer turned to look at Emma as if seeing her for the first time. $400,000? Plus the other scholarships, I confirmed. Though she can't combine them all. She'll have to choose which ones to accept. I thought she was just an average student, Jennifer said. I thought Tyler was the smart one. Tyler is smart, I said. He's just smart in different ways. But that doesn't mean Emma isn't exceptional. We moved toward the lobby. Other families stopped Emma every few feet to congratulate her. Teachers hugged her. The principal asked to take a photo with her for the school website. Jennifer walked behind us, silent. Tyler had wandered off to find his friends. In the lobby, the scholarship chair approached Emma directly. I wanted to personally congratulate you. Your research paper on antibiotic resistance was genuinely impressive. Several committee members have PhDs in microbiology, and they were amazed by the depth of your analysis. Thank you, Emma said. I had great mentors at the university lab. Have you decided where you'll attend in the fall? MIT, Emma said. They have the best bioengineering program and they've guaranteed me a spot in their advanced research track. The chair beamed. Excellent choice. Keep in touch. I'd love to hear about your work. After she left, Jennifer finally spoke. MIT. She was accepted to MIT, Stanford, and Princeton, I said. She chose MIT because of their research facilities. I didn't know she applied to those schools. She talked about it at Christmas dinner. I reminded her. You said she was aiming too high and would be disappointed. Jennifer's face crumpled. I said that. You did, Emma said softly. It's okay, Aunt Jennifer. I know you didn't mean to be hurtful. But I was hurtful, Jennifer said. She looked at Emma's stack of awards. I was so busy being proud of Tyler for just graduating that I didn't see what you were accomplishing. I dismissed it. I called it luck. Tyler should be proud of graduating, Emma said. Everyone's path is different. That's very mature of you, Jennifer said. More mature than I was today. My mother had been standing quietly, but now she stepped forward. Emma, sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. I always knew you were special, but this is beyond anything I imagined. Emma hugged her grandmother. Thank you, Grandma. Jennifer watched this exchange, her expression pained. Emma, I owe you an apology. A real one. What I said today was cruel and wrong. You didn't graduate because of luck. You graduated because you worked incredibly hard and you earned every single one of those awards. Emma looked at her aunt for a long moment. Thank you for saying that. I mean it, Jennifer insisted. And I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry I minimized your achievements. You're remarkable and I should have seen that. Tyler reappeared with a plate of cookies. Mom, they have really good cookies here. Jennifer looked at her son, then back at Emma. Tyler, did you know about Emma's scholarships? He nodded, chewing. Yeah, she posted about most of them in our cousin group chat. The one without the adults. Jennifer closed her eyes briefly. There's a cousin group chat? You told us to make one, Tyler said. Remember? You said we should stay connected without parents reading everything. Right, Jennifer said weakly. Emma's phone buzzed. She checked it and smiled. My research mentor wants to know if I can meet with a doctoral candidate next week. They're working on something related to my project and want to discuss collaboration. You're still in high school, Jennifer said. For 3 more weeks, Emma corrected gently. Then I'm a college student. We stood in the lobby for another hour, accepting congratulations from teachers, administrators, and other families. Emma handled each interaction with grace, thanking people sincerely, asking about their plans and deflecting attention when she could. Jennifer stayed nearby the entire time watching. I could see her reassessing everything she thought she knew about Emma. Finally, the crowd thinned. We gathered our things and headed toward the parking lot. Emma carried her awards carefully, the plaques and certificates awkward to balance. Can I carry something for you? Jennifer offered. Emma handed her one of the smaller certificates. Thank you. We reached our cars. Tyler hugged Emma goodbye, telling her again that her achievements were impressive. My mother kissed Emma's cheek and promised to take her to dinner to celebrate. Jennifer stood by her car door, the certificate still in her hands. Emma, I know I don't deserve to ask this, but would you be willing to have coffee with me sometime? Before you leave for MIT? I'd like to actually hear about your research and your plans. I'd like to listen properly this time. Emma considered this. I'd like that, Aunt Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer said. She handed the certificate back carefully. You really are exceptional. I'm sorry it took me so long to notice. We drove home in comfortable silence. Emma stared out the window, the sunset painting everything gold and orange. How do you feel? I asked. He thought about it. Validated, I guess. It was hard when Aunt Jennifer said that stuff. Even though I knew it wasn't true, it still hurt. I know it did. But then hearing my name called over and over, seeing the amounts, knowing that multiple committees and judges all thought my work was worthwhile. She trailed off. It helped. You never needed their validation, I said. You know that, right? You were exceptional before today and you'll still be exceptional tomorrow. I know, she said. But it still felt good to have proof. We pulled into our driveway. Emma gathered her awards again, balancing the stack carefully as we walked to the front door. Inside, she spread everything out on the dining room table. 7 certificates. 7 checks. 1 plaque. Proof of 4 years of dedication, countless hours of studying, weekends spent in labs, nights spent writing and revising. $400,000, she said quietly. That's more money than I can really comprehend. It's an investment in your future, I said. In your potential. She picked up the National Award plaque, running her fingers over the engraved text. Do you think Aunt Jennifer really didn't know? I think she chose not to know, I said honestly. I think it was easier for her to dismiss your achievements than to acknowledge them and feel inadequate about Tyler's path. That's sad. It is. But she's trying now. That matters. Emma nodded. She set the plaque down and looked at the spread of awards on our table. I'm going to frame these. All of them. Not to show off, but to remember. Remember what? That hard work pays off. That persistence matters. That when people tell you you're not good enough, they're usually wrong. She smiled. And that sometimes luck has nothing to do with it. I hugged her tight, this brilliant daughter of mine who had proven everyone wrong simply by being exactly who she was meant to be.